Hey, fellow problem solvers, Colfax Math here. Today we're working on the Hesi A2 math exam. This is a practice exam. This is lesson number 6 in a series of 6 videos. I'll put the links to the previous videos in the description. If you haven't watched the previous ones, you might want to. If they're too easy, you might want to jump all the way here. The way you learn how to juggle is practice. The way you learn how to do math is practice. I can't explain it to you without you doing the problem. So you really need a notebook and pencil out in front of you. Take some notes in that notebook, pause the video, do the problems before I do the problems, unpause the video, check your work against mine. This is a pretty hard practice math test right here. There are 15 problems here. We're going to go over algebraic expressions, variables, spelled wrong. Simple linear equations. I talked a little bit about that in the last one. Algebraic expressions, brackets, adding, subtracting, multiplying similar terms, simplifying algebraic expressions with exponents, and inequalities. So those are the topics we're going over here. There's a lot here. I won't be able to explain all of it. I can't really teach that whole algebra class in a shorter video. Hopefully I'll do a little bit of review to hopefully bring back a lot of those ideas if you haven't seen them for a while. A lot of times when you revisit the ideas, they just make sense. It takes time for them to sink in. Okay, if you need a little bit more help, you could always go to this web page right here or the Apple App Store, Google Play, download this app, get tutoring and more support and help through this app. With that said, let's go ahead and get started. So I have that notebook out in front of you. What we're going to do right here is we're given values of x and y and an expression. An expression, there is no equal sign in it. And we're going to take those values and plug it in. There's not too much review on this. The whole point of variables is that you could assign any number to them. And in this case, we are taking that assigned number and plugging it in. So pause the video right here. Go ahead and do this problem. Unpause the video, watch how I do it, check your work. Maybe I have some tips and tricks because it's a no calculator exam. Also to use the multiple choice answers in your reasoning. So pause the video, give that one a try, and then unpause it, and then I'll go through it. So this is saying x is equal to 2. Take that 2, plug it in there. Y is equal to 0.5 or a half. Plug that in there to give me 2 to the third power plus 8 times 0.5 or a half. 2 to the third is 2 times 2 times 2. 2, 4, 8. So this is equal to 8 plus 8 times a half is 4. Correct answer is 12. Answer B right there. Moving along to number 2. So on number 2 here, these are absolute value. Everything inside that bar becomes positive. So these two straight bars mean make it positive. Right? So if I have the absolute value of -6, that's just equal to 6. Oh, good Lord, I don't know what's going on with my pen there. So anything inside becomes positive. However, we have an equation with absolute values, so that means 2x minus 8 could be equal to 6. But it also means everything inside of it could be negative and set equal to 6. So the way I solve absolute values is that either 2x minus 8 could equal 6 or 2x minus 8 could equal -6. I take the absolute value of it and make it a 6. As I scan my multiple choice answers here, I can see there are 2 solutions in every one of them. So right here, the goal of solving this equation is to isolate my variable x, meaning get it by itself. To do that, I got to get rid of that 8 first. I'm going to add 8 to both sides. That 8 and that 8 will cancel, giving me 2x on the left equals 6 plus 8, 14. Whoa, it's funny I say 14. I wrote that. Gives me 14. Now I got to still get x by itself, so I divide this multiplication, so I reverse by division. Divide both sides by 2 to get x equals 7. So one answer is 7. I could eliminate answers A and C, but I don't know what the other answer is. I got to keep going here. Again, I'm going to add 8 to both sides. This time when I add 8 to negative 6, I get 2. So 2x is equal to 2. Divide both sides by 2 to get x equals 1. Two solutions, 1 and 7. Correct answer, answer D right there. Okay, this is a little hard because there's some brand new stuff here. This is all called function notation and kind of higher math classes, Algebra 2, pre-calculus. F of x is just saying it is a function. It is the exact same thing as y. And what this notation is saying, f of x is equal to this, model this equation. What is f of 3? It is saying take 3 and plug it in for x. So f of 3 is going to be wherever there's an x, there is now a 3. So I have 3, the 3 that's up there, x, which is also 3. So I have that 3 that I'm plugging in, minus 5. Order of operations here. Sometimes we use PEMDAS, parentheses first, then exponents, then multiplication, division, addition, subtraction from left to right. So I got to do my exponent first. 3 squared, 3 times 3 is 9. So this is equal to 3 times 9 minus 5. 27 minus 5 is 22. Correct answer, answer B right there. Problem number 4. This is a little bit of a hard one here, I guess in the world of statistics. The mean of 6 numbers, so 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, or consecutive means in order, add up to 36.5, or the average is 36.5. What is the largest number? So I'm going to call x my largest number. So if I have these 6 consecutive numbers and the mean, which means the average, means I'm going to take those 6 numbers, divide by 6 to get that 36.5. So if my biggest number is x, then the number before x is going to be x minus 1. The number before that will be x minus 1 minus 1, x minus 2. So there's 1, 2, 3 numbers, x minus 3, x minus 4, x minus 5. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive numbers. If I add those 6 consecutive numbers up, divide by 6, then the average will be 36.5. So I got to add this number, plus that number, plus that number, plus all those numbers. When I solve for x here, it'll be my largest number, and that's what we're looking for. So I have x plus x plus x plus x plus x plus x. So I have 6x minus 5 minus 9, right? 5 and 4 together, minus 9 minus 12 minus 14 minus 15 divided by 6 is equal to 36.5. Next thing I'm going to do from here is I'm going to multiply both sides by 6. I'm going to take this whole thing, multiply it by 6, so that'll cancel. If I do that to the left side, I have to do it to the right side. So I have 36.5 times 6. That's going to give me 30, carry the 3, 39, carry the 3, 18 plus 3, 21. I got 1 decimal over here, so that's 219. So that means I have 6x minus 15 is equal to 219. Still solving for x. I'm going to add 15 to both sides to get 6x is equal to 234. 234. Still solving for x, I got to divide both sides by 6 to get my value x. So 234 divided by 6, it'll go in here 3 times. Give me 18. 54, 9. So x is equal to 39. correct answer, answer C up there. This is a hard problem. It's kind of in the sequence and series. There's a lot of pieces here. You got to know that you got 6 numbers all added together, divided by the number of values you have to get the average. Another word for average is mean. All right, moving right along here to number 5. We have a fraction equation with non-common denominators. So let's see what we could do here. One thing that would be nice to do would be get rid of the denominator. We could just multiply by 1 so as not to affect the value. Or we could just multiply both sides of the equation by 10, and that's going to reduce down. So that 3/5 x is the same thing as 3x over 5 minus 3 over 10, and that's equal to 1x. I'm just going to write that as an x over 2. I could either multiply by a single number by a factor of 1, not affect the value, or the other way, once I have an equation, is do whatever I want as long as I do it equally to both sides. I think I'll do this in red. I'm going to multiply the left side by 10. I could do that if I want, as long as I multiply the right side by 10. A lot of ways to solve this. This is just one way. So as I multiply 10 through the first thing here, it's going to give me 30 over 5, right? 30 over 5 is 6x. And then it's going to give me 30 over 10, negative 3. I picked that 10, so those numbers would cancel out. Then over here, 2 goes into 10 5 times. It's going to be equal to 5x. Now I have my equation. Got to get my x's together. I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. And I'm also going to add 3 to both sides at the same time. 6x minus 5x is 1x. Negative 3 plus 3 cancel. These x's are gone, and I have x is equal to 3. What's the value of x? Answer B, x is equal to 3. A lot of ways to have done that problem. That's just one. All right, this is not an equation. There's no equal sign. This is only an expression. This problem is easier than it looks. It looks pretty intimidating, but there's no multiplication. So I'm just adding and subtracting. The key on this one is that I distribute that negative through that quantity. So I have 4x minus 2x squared minus 7xy minus 2x squared minus 5xy. So I've got rid of those parentheses, keeping track of that negative. And then the important thing here is now I have to combine similar terms, apples and apples, oranges and oranges. So I have that 4x out front. There are no other single terms of x. I'm going to keep that 4x. From there, I could look up there and see there's only one with a 4x in it, so it has to be answer C. So I go right to C. But let's keep going. Then I have negative 2x squared and another negative 2x squared. So I got negative 2 and another negative 2, so negative 4 of those things. And then I have minus 7xy and minus another 5xy's, which is going to give me minus 12xy's. So I could see negative 4x squared plus 4x minus 12xy, answer C, correct answer right there. All right, we're getting to the halfway point. Number 7. This is multiplication. It's still an expression, not an equation, meaning that there is no equal sign, so I can't do whatever I want. What I really need to do here is, as I look at my multiple choice answers, it gives me a little bit of a hint, is I need to distribute that 3x through the quantity. So I have 3x times 5, 15x. And then 3x times that second term, 3 times 2 is 6. I have that x and that y. So I have 15x plus 6xy. They are dissimilar terms. This is an apple, this is an orange. I cannot add them together. Correct answer, answer B right there. All right, number 8. See what we have here. We have a little bit of geometry coupled with algebra. The area of a parallelogram. So a parallelogram has parallel top and bottom, parallel sides. Area of that parallelogram is base times height. It's just that the height is outside the parallelogram. You kind of see that because if I were to cut that triangle off, it would fit right in there. So it'd be the same as a rectangle. What is the area of a parallelogram if its length is x minus 3 and its height is x plus 5? So again, area of parallelogram is base times height. So I have to do x minus 3 times x plus 5. It's pretty hard from algebra. A lot of people use a mnemonic device, FOIL, to multiply this out, which means you multiply the first terms together first, then the outer terms, then the inner terms, and then the last terms. We look over there. 3 of them have x squared in them, so I could eliminate answer A, but that's about it. In the middle term, if I got mixed up, I can't see the last term is negative 15, so I can't jump down to answer D. But let me go through this FOIL process. So I'm going to multiply the first terms together. X times x gives me an x squared. I don't know if I have enough colors here. Then I'm going to multiply the outer terms together. It's going to give me 5x. Then I'm going to multiply the inner terms together. Negative 3 times x. And then I'm going to multiply the last terms together. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. I don't know if you can see all those colors. So I have that x squared. Combining similar terms, 5x minus 3x is 2x minus that 15 right there. I have x squared plus 2x minus 15. Answer D right there. All right, problem number 9. Subtract this amount from this. So that is saying 2y plus 1 minus that whole thing. Because it's saying take that from that, right? So 2y plus 1 minus 2x plus 3y plus 3. Again, it's similar about distributing that negative through the whole quantity. I still have that 2y plus 1 out front. Then I got to distribute this through all the terms in this quantity. So that's going to be minus 2x. So minus 2x minus 3y minus 3. Now that I have singular terms, I got to combine all my similar terms. Here's a y at minus 3y will give me a negative y. I have a 1 minus 3 will give me a negative 2. There's no other term like that, so negative 2x. Good Lord, negative 2x. So I got a negative y, a negative 2, and a negative 2x. So it's going to be correct answer, answer A right there. The other way I saw it, a little quicker way to do it is subtract this from this. If I'm doing this minus this, it's going to be a negative 2x, so it either has to be this one or this one. So I could eliminate those if I had a choice. All right, moving right along to number 10. Number 10, solve for all values of x in the equation x squared minus 25 equals 0. Again, I got to isolate that variable. I'm going to add 25 to both sides, and that's going to give me x squared equals 25. I look up there, and the majority of those, or 2 of those, have 2 solutions, which kind of throws you off. Take the square root of both sides. That gives me x by itself. And then the square root of a number is saying what times itself equals 25. So you think it's 5, but 5 times 5 is 25. Also, negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. So there are two solutions here, both positive 5 and negative 5. So the correct answer is answer D. A lot of times we forget that because we so frequently use square roots when we solve parts of a triangle using the Pythagorean theorem. We're talking about length of a side in a triangle, so we always discard the negative. But the correct answer right here is always plus or minus. Okay, moving on to number 11. That's a tricky one there. Y to the 4th times y to the 6th is equal to what? Here are the laws of exponents. You might want to take some notes on this if you can't quite remember all these rules of exponents. If I have x to the m times x to the n, the rule here is if the bases are the same, I add the exponents. So that's equal to x m plus n. If I have x to the m to the power of n, then I multiply them. That gives me x to the mn. If I have x to the m divided by x to the n, again, the same base. I keep that same base. Here, I subtract the exponents. If I have a negative exponent, I can make it positive by reciprocating it. So that's equal to 1 over x to the positive m. So those are the rules of exponents. I could see in this problem right here, it's going to apply to the first rule. They are the same bases. I am multiplying them together, so I add the exponents. 4 plus 6 is 10. Correct answer, answer B, y to the 10th. Number 12. This is that FOIL thing again here. This one's going to be a little harder because we have the square roots mixed in, and we're going to have to simplify. I look at that multiple choice answers, and I know it's going to work out. So let me rewrite this. I have 8 minus 5 root 2 times 8 plus 5 root 2. This thing right here is actually called a perfect square because I have minus something plus the exact same thing. Remember we had FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. So I multiply the first terms together to get 64. The outer terms together, 40 root 2. The inner terms together, negative 40 root 2. So those terms just cancel, and then the last terms together. So again, I have negative 80 root 2 plus 40 root 2. Those middle terms cancel. And then my last term is this thing times this thing. So I got negative times a positive. It's going to give me a negative. I got 5 times a 5, which is 25. And then I got a root 2 times a root 2, which is a root 4, or just a 2. So then I have 64 minus 50, 14. Correct answer, answer A right there. So I do have to FOIL this out, but I notice that they are the exact same. One's negative, one's positive. So the middle term and the outside terms canceled. And then I just had to do this hard part with the square roots. Okay, that was problem 12. 13, take the square root of that pretty complex thing right there. So I have the square root of 81. I notice 81 is a 9 squared, perfect square. X to the 4th, y to the 6th. This thing right here, when there's no number written in there, it's implied it's a 2, a square root, square two-dimensional. So I'm going to take the 81 out. 9 squared is going to just give me a 9. This is going to be really times a half to give me x squared. And then this is to the half as well to give me y to the 3rd. So the correct answer is 9x squared y to the third. A little bit of a typo here. Oh, no. I don't know if that's to the power or not. Its correct answer is answer A. So that's the correct answer. Let me do another one of these. If I have it, and this is just not for this problem, but in general with these square roots and exponents, how they're interconnected. Whatever this is, I could go back to my notes on exponents, maybe add this to it. If this is x to the m inside of the nth root, that is equal to x to the m over n. So in this case up here, if I just looked at x to the fourth, that would be x to the 4 over 2, or x squared, y to the 6 over 2. So if I had the third root of x to the 27th, that looks hard, but I could just use that definition of square roots in exponential forms to say x to the 27 over 3, which is equal to x to the 9th. And there's a lot of stuff here. But if you're still here, you're doing the right thing, you're getting the work done, which is the key. Okay, back to linear functions here. This is the line of a graph. Again, maybe take a little bit of notes on this. The general equation for a linear function is y equals mx plus b, where m is equal to slope and b is the y-intercept. Oh, pen doesn't want to write that fast. So the y-intercept of the equation below is, so if I could get this equation to this form, I could just know this is the y-intercept. So I have 9x plus 5y is equal to 35. I want to keep the y over here, so I got to get rid of that 9x. I'm going to subtract 9x from both sides. These are dissimilar, so I can't combine them. So I have 5y equals negative 9x plus 35. Again, I want this thing to look like this general form, so I'm going to get rid of that 5, divide both sides of the equation by 5. That gives me y by itself. Y is equal to negative 9/5 x. I don't really care because I'm only concerned about that b value. Plus 35 divided by 5 plus 7. B is my y-intercept. I've converted my specific equation to that general form to find out that my y-intercept is that value, 7. So correct answer, answer B. All right, last problem. If you're still here, good job. This stuff is work. You can't learn to juggle by watching me do it. You got to practice. That's the only way to learn math as well. So I hope you have your paper and pencil out. You're doing these problems. It's really the only way to learn math. If you're new to the channel, think about subscribing. If you like the video, I guess if you're on number 15, you certainly had to like it enough to stay here for all this time. Hit that like button and feel free to share this video with anybody studying for a standardized exam, whether it's for the military or nursing, whatever it might be. All standardized exams are pretty similar. I shouldn't say that. All standardized math exams are pretty similar. Okay, the one important thing to remember with this inequality, that's a typo right there. It's not going to be equal, it's going to be an unequal sign, is that when I multiply or divide by a negative, I flip the sign around. So that's an important part to remember. Whoops. Forgot to hit my pencil there. So if I'm multiplying and divide by a negative, I flip the sign around. So I have negative 2x plus 8 is less than 30. So I treat it just like an equation with that one exception. If I multiply or divide by a negative, I flip the sign. So I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. Negative 2x is less than 30 minus 8, 22. Here it is right here. I'll do it in orange. I am dividing by negative 2. As I divide by that negative, it gives me x by itself. I have to flip that thing around. And then now that I flipped it, 22 divided by negative 2 is negative 11. So x is greater than negative 11. Correct answer, answer B, right there. And if you got that one right, congratulations. And if you're working this hard, congratulations as well for making it this far. If you need more help, go to this app or this webpage. A lot more resources available here. Great place to get a little more help. Appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, post them in the comments. Let me know how you do on the exam as well in the comments. Love to hear success stories, because I know if you're here in the video and you're working this hard, I know it's going to lead to success. So good luck.